Hey everybody, welcome back to Food Well Live here on Friday. Starting a little bit late, having some technical issues, so I hope that you guys can hear me this time. This show is about providing some weekly updates from around local food. We also interview some local farmers and local food leaders. So looking forward to having some interesting discussions today. Wanted to start by sharing a few things we've been hearing from around the scenes, on the ground and in the field. First of all, I wanted to start out by saying we had another record week of unemployment. Now 17% of the state is now officially unemployed. So we just wanted to say that for anybody who has become unemployed because of this pandemic, our friends at Wholesome Wave can help you enroll in SNAP and EBT benefits. And those benefits are double the value at your nearest farmer's market. So you're still able to access fresh, healthy food thanks to our friends at Wholesome Wave, who can double the value of your money. So head over to Wholesome Wave, Georgia, to find some support. They can help enroll you in these kinds of programs to help you get some fresh food. Another great initiative that started this week is called Food Fight Georgia. This is a partnership between local restaurants and local farmers who are working to get food to now unemployed restaurant workers. They're providing like a weekly farm box with different things such as vegetables and dairy and meat. So this is a really great program. I know Georgia Organics is involved with that one, so we're looking to learn more about that as it develops, but sounds like a really great program so far. A similar program to helping our hospital workers and nurses and other frontline workers is Feeding the Frontlines program. We are hoping to learn more about that with Bill Green today, who's at the Common Market Southeast. Aaron, thanks for sticking with us. Appreciate you working through the first two editions with some sound issues, but glad you can hear us now. Also on the lines of working with hospital workers, Chef Zoo has been working with us to help some workers at Grady Hospital, I believe, is doing a cooking demo this evening, helping get some fresh, healthy food to hospital workers, and also providing them a bit of some activity that they can do with some interactive cooking demos. So excited to see how that goes tonight, and hopefully we can be rolling out some more cooking demos for y'all here in the near future. The Grant Park Farmers Market is opening again this Sunday after a 2-week hiatus. That is taking place still at the Beacon near Eventide Brewery. I think they'll be opening up a little in waves, so to speak. So it'll be farmers and bakeries at first, while the rest is still online. So check out Community Farmers Markets. Still has their online option, but also is opening in Grant Park again this Sunday. We held a greenhouse party here on Earth Day thanks to DJ Fifth World of Nature's Candy Farms. We were here on Instagram Live. May have had one or two technical issues there as well, but I was personally out at Ecosystem Farm with some members of the Farmers Jam Band, and it was great to have some live music broadcast across the farm, one of our favorite DJs. So thanks, Tenicio, for providing us with some great entertainment and some sounds, and we appreciate you, and we will hopefully be hosting some more greenhouse parties here in the future, so stay tuned to our Instagram Live page. Plant, Eat, Repeat videos, some gardening videos that we've been working on with Atlanta Botanical Gardens. Those are now live on our website, so you can go check those out. We have a new community garden resource page and an urban farm resource page where you can find all of our new initiatives and offerings and ways we're stepping up our level of support to help growers get as much food in the ground as they possibly can. So if you're looking to get some home gardening going or garden in your nearest community garden, we've got a couple of videos that should be rolling out weekly. The first one is about how you start your seeds, and the second one is about how you test your soil. So check those out on our website, foodwellalliance.org. Our first guest today is Willie Miller of Miller City Farms, but he's just texted me that he can't find the stream, so I'm going to try to get him locked in. In the meantime, I wanted to see if maybe Wande was here from Little Ones Learning Center. Yes, I can hear you. Wande back here.
This is crazy.
Hey, you know what? I've been just mumbling here to myself with technical issues the whole stream so far. So we've made a connection, and that's the important thing.
I am so terribly sorry.
Oh, it's not your fault at all. It's not your fault at all. It's just one of those days in the quarantine, you know?
Yes. I have a Facebook Live interview right now.
Sarah, I appreciate your support in the comments. So Wande, you've had already a very action-packed year. Going back to before COVID, y'all had a whole adventure with trying to keep your farmers market open. Wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about your work in general and what Little Ones does and how you guys involve local food in your program usually, and then maybe we can start talking about what's happening right now.
Yeah, so how we normally involve local food is we do get support local farmers, our local by supporting Common Market Georgia. So they deliver usually about twice a month to us. We're not having any deliveries at this moment. We haven't had any deliveries in a few months, actually. And then we have the farm stand. So that was quite an adventure. Had lots of support from Foodwell, Georgia Organics. It was interesting to see how food can. It's supposed to be apolitical, but you could see how some people did not even want to cross that line and even deal with it, so they were silent. And I think for me, that was a really frustrating part. Like, you all are supposed to be advocates, but when it's time to speak up, you're silent in some ways. So, yeah, we bring it into our kitchen. We bring it to our parents. We bring it to the kids. The kids are great. You know, they no longer say, "Hey, I want to be a fireman." You know, we have kids that say, "You know, I want to work on the farm," or "I want to do something in ag." Well, they don't say ag, but I mean, they're thinking more broader about. I know now, if a 3-year-old talks about they want to be an ag, that's something scary. Like, no kid should be saying, "I want to be an ag," but you know, they're thinking more broadly about things that they can do, like environmentally. And they're starting to value the air and the soil and the worms just as much as they value, you know, their $50 or $100 tennis shoes. So just seeing that mind shift is something that, you know, can really change generations, or we hope to change generations through the work.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, why don't we have a question here? I'd like to know a bit more about your organization. So I was wondering, let's just imagine that people who don't know anything about Little Ones, can you just tell them a little bit high level about what it is y'all do in general?
Yeah. So Little Ones, we're located in Forest Park, Georgia, Clayton County. Clayton County has the lowest well-being index, and there's a long story to this, has the lowest well-being index of all the Atlanta metro counties, which means when you look at the success rates of children, the health index, the literacy rates, the high school dropout rates, how many kids are insured, we have the lowest in Clayton County. Forest Park, where my center sits, is the largest city in Clayton County. So we are at Forest Park has a 23.4, I believe, child well-being index. When you look at our friends in Alpharetta, Johns Creek, they're sitting on a beautiful 88 point something child well-being index. So that just speaks volumes as to the challenges, the lack of resources, everything that we have out here, which is why it's incredibly important that we do get access to fresh food. It's one thing about having fresh food, but the access to it is a totally different thing. So we are not, any parent that comes to our center and says, you know, I want my kids to, you know, learn their ABCs. Well, we might not be the place for them, because we're really interested in developing more of a holistic child that can have empathy, that is sensitive, that can step on another child's foot and say, "Oh, I didn't mean to do that." You know, my own son, who's also a Waldorf child, you know, sometimes he'd be walking around the house and he'd bop his sister upside the head. I'm like, "Dino, say you're sorry." He's like, "Mom, I'm not sorry. I meant to hurt my sister. Like, that's what I wanted to do." So, you know, having them feel like sorry or empathy for what they do is one of the things that we have to do here.
Something that everybody's kind of doing right now is more of like this remote learning and remote working. But you've spoken about how that's a real challenge, especially for kids who don't have the right technology or the right internet connection. So can you speak to how that's kind of creating more disparities within education and what it is that y'all are trying to do to overcome it?
Yeah, so we are anti, like, okay, so first of all, I don't know what this thing is that they keep talking about. It's so hard homeschooling. Y'all aren't homeschooling. Like homeschooling is a real it's a real art to homeschooling. This is what we're seeing right now. And I say this for all three of my kids go to three different schools. This is crisis education that we're doing right now. I mean, we went home on a Thursday in regular school. On Friday, we hear the schools are shut down. On Monday, we're getting emails from all teachers saying that parents, this is now your job to educate. Like we're in crisis mode. So this right here is not schooling. It's something else. And when you're in crisis mode, your brain thinks differently. Your kids can feel the pressure. Your kids can feel the stress. Like we shouldn't be memorizing Zoom passcodes. Like this, it's my calendars are all jacked up. So, it does create disparities because you do, even like within my own teachers, I asked one of my teachers, why are you not doing XYZ? Well, Miss Wande, I don't have access to the internet. I'm like, what? Like even my own teachers don't have it. So that's something that we're having to deal with. So thankfully, we have told our students that they do not have to log on to any kind of platform unless they want to. But we are partnering with Small Bites Adventure Club to bring them so right now we do Small Bites Adventure Club here at our school on a regular basis. So they're taste test kits that the teachers do, and they're really turnkey. Like my pet peeve is for teachers to say, "Oh, I need a quarter spoon of seed oil or canola." Like what? Like no, I'm not doing that. I have crisis. I have to manage. Like I have other things to do. I don't know where to get a quarter teaspoon of seed oil for your whatever awesome project you want to do. So the thing about Small Bites Adventure Club is everything comes in a kit for me, or for the teachers. From the knife to the lettuce knife to whatever, and it's turnkey. So it goes straight to the classroom, and the teachers can do it. So as this crisis mode of education was happening, and I saw, we started seeing the reports out of California, in Georgia, teachers are giving kids assignments, but the kids aren't logging on. Heck, I wouldn't log on either with all these packets of e-learning and just random busy work. It's busy work. But I noticed that my child, there's a chef called Chef Asada. I'm sure everybody knows her. He got so excited to do a cooking class with her a few weeks ago and with his dad. I mean, he was making pizza, something. And I was like, oh my God, this would be great. What if we could do something similar like this with our parents? And that's family engagement. It combats social isolation. So worked with Aaron of Small Bites, and now we're going to deliver these kits, hopefully, all across to our parents. And so that's
wow.
Yes, and so that's the learning that like parents think they have to do trigonometry and ABCs and this and the other. That's something they need. They need some bonding. They need some emotional connection. They need to talk about XYZ. They need to learn about local food, which comes on the kit. I mean, there's so much other stuff in this dichotomy of education. It has to be A, B, C, D, E, and let's learn about the plots on a Georgia map, the capitals on a map. That's not important.
Yeah, I think you probably would resonate with a lot of people, especially right now. The emotional needs that we have and the health needs that we have. So critical. So thank you, so much for all the hard work that you're doing. I was wondering, for people who may want to learn more about what you're doing or to get involved somehow, what's the best way for them to learn more about Little Ones?
You can follow us on Instagram at Little Ones FP, or on our Facebook, Little Ones Learning Center FP. Social media is great. And that's it. Just grow food, y'all, and fight the powers and speak up. When you see wrong stuff, speak up. Don't be silent. Don't send me a text saying, "Hey, I really support you." Say that out loud. Support us out loud.
There we go. All right, Wande. Well, thank you so much. We will support you as best we can.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. Oh, somebody asked a question. Somebody said, "Is it a daycare?" So we are. I'll just say it real quick. So we're not a daycare. We're an early childhood program, which is a really big difference. Daycare means that you're a babysitting service, just trying to keep kids alive. And I have a dog that used to go to Piedmont Bart before he got kicked out because of his whatever issues. And the daycare, they just run around aimlessly. So we prefer to call ourselves an early childhood program. So that's what we are. But thank you for asking.
Thank you for clarifying.
All right.
Appreciate all your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, Wande, thank you so much for providing us an update and definitely some insight into what's going on at Little Ones, and maybe some insight into what our kids really need right now, maybe what we all need right now, a little bit of love and support. I think we've managed to get Willie Miller here in the stream, or maybe this is Marissa. Let's add Marissa and see what happens. Well, I can hear you again. We can't see you. But the sound quality is okay if you want to just power through it, unless you want to maybe try a different Wi-Fi zone or something.
I'm not sure. But and it's interesting. I see a photo of myself, but I'm not seeing. Some reason we're not live, so I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, as far as I can tell, it is broadcasting your voice to everybody, so I could always drop a photo of you in the edited version that we'll do afterwards. This has already been the most technically challenging episode, so, why not keep that going? Okay, Willie, so I was just telling people a little bit about your raised bed initiative, but I was wondering if you could even take it back a step and just let people know, where is Miller City Farm? Why did y'all get into farming? Why did you choose to start growing in South Fulton? And just kind of give us the backstory on Miller City Farm.
Okay, awesome. So prior to being a farmer, I actually worked in the IT field, online securities for a number of years, and had basically got burned out. I'm sure this is a story that you've heard before. People who have a corporate background. So I'd actually gotten burned out. My background, I'm originally from Mississippi. So I come from a family of people who actually grew food, had farms for a long period of time. When I left to go to college, I had no desire to do anything related to agriculture. Went there on a civil engineering scholarship, got out and went directly to the IT field. So I'd done that for a number of years. But when I turned 30, I got an urge to start growing. And at that particular moment, we happened to live down in the heart of downtown, right on Forsyth Street, next to the federal building in a loft. There was only 13 people in the building. And we started growing, my wife and I, on the rooftop with a few pots. And within about 60 days, we had converted the entire rooftop into a garden area. So much so that we had one of the inspectors come by and say, "Hey, this is a lot of soil and stuff up here." And so he and I had an engineer conversation about load balancing and all that. And he was like, "Okay, well, you're fine."
Okay, there you go.
And that basically just grew to us moving to another friend's backyard, and more people wanted what we were providing. And then that grew into having a property 3 acres off of Bolton Road, and then out to Mableton. And my wife said, while you're doing all of this, you're still working in corporate. So you may want to monetize this because this is becoming crazy. And so 2015, we started Miller City Farm officially. And we moved to the city of South Fulton because at the time it was unincorporated. So it was a great opportunity for us to find some farmland, sit right in the right in the center of a community, but be only maybe 15 minutes from the outskirts of Atlanta, so we could still get into the city if we needed to get something and enjoy ourselves or whatever on that side.
Yeah.
And pretty much the farm has grown from there. We've done a lot of things. We work with a lot of schools in the area. We focus a lot on STEM because of my engineering background. We believe that agriculture is one of the few disciplines that incorporates science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yeah.
So with it, meeting all of those contact points that schools are interested in now, we work with a lot of schools here in the city of South Fulton. And a little while ago, right before COVID, we were having a lot of conversations with many of the local farmers and community leaders on what can we do to fortify food security here. I'm also the president for the Food Policy Council for South Fulton. So I'm involved with this conversation on a grassroots level as well as on a governmental level. So that's a little bit about my background and who I am and how we got here.
Yeah, and so obviously you have the farm now in South Fulton able to, directly sort of mobilize support during the pandemic. I wanted to just ask you how you came up with the idea of distributing raised bed gardens to residents in South Fulton.
Well, we needed to pull together a program, something that we can mobilize pretty quickly and something that people could do with the least amount of effort. So after having conversations with many of our city officials about what we recommended they do, they decided to go into another direction in terms of providing emergency PPEs for many of the officials here in South Fulton. So the grassroots leadership said, okay, we need to focus on the food because the people need to be fed in the event this continues to push out and go against the distribution chain for the food. And so we said, okay, so what would be the fastest thing that people can do that will have the highest yield over the shortest amount of time? And so we said, okay, cool, a 4x4 box, 4x4 raised beds, provide all of the compost or fertilizer that they need, provide them with seeds / starter plants, and then educate them on how to plant those things, and then have a series of trainings going forward on how to maintain those boxes, how to troubleshoot any issues that may be taking place with the plants, and at the exact same time build a community that now can begin to rely on themselves. Because as a farmer, I know that within a 4x4 box, we can produce enough produce in there to feed 2 to 3 family members within a household. And so that is the reason that we decided to go that route. And it has simply exploded since we've been promoting it.
That's great to hear. How have people been getting in touch with you to order those? Can they go online, or is that just connect directly with you?
Well, we've been announcing it. We started out initially with 50 boxes. To provide the box and all of the materials for, we're calling it a gardening grow kit or gardening starter kit. It worked out to be about $50 to $55. So essentially, we had individuals who were donating monies so that we could go and buy materials in bulk. And we started out with 50 boxes. We advertised it on Eventbrite, letting them know that we had these boxes that they will be able to come and pick up on May 1st at a specified location. And within about 30 minutes, all of the boxes were gone. It was like, okay, well, that went well and went fast. And so then we decided after that, well, let's go and get another 100. And so we put the call out to many of our connections in the community, and we had monies donated again for another 100. We advertised that on Eventbrite, made people aware, and within 2 hours, all of the 100 were gone. So we now have received donations from major contributors like Gym Care and Home Depot and Walmart and City Fresh Gardens and Whole Foods and Food Well Alliance. And because of that, we're going to be giving away another 100 here soon. And we are sure that they're going to go pretty fast. And so our ultimate goal in the South Fulton area is to have 10,000 of these boxes throughout the city of South Fulton, which has over 140,000 households.
Wow, 10,000 boxes. That's yes. A major goal.
And I feel like we're going to get it because just today we now have schools that are coming on who are partnering with us with their PTAs and other organizations, and they're like, okay, yeah, we would like to give $1,000 or we want to give $5,000. So between now and May 1st, we will have over 500 boxes. So now we're trying to deal with the logistics of making sure that everybody can get their boxes and grow materials in a safe manner. But that's a great issue to have from a logistic perspective, when just a few months ago, most of these same individuals probably would not have had any interest in having a grow box or growing their own vegetables.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the good problems for a farmer is too many orders. So with this goal of 10,000 gardens, you're obviously thinking long term with this project. What kind of, I mean, how do you see us coming out on the other side of this, and what do you think we need to do to get through it?
Well, the coming out on the other side part is going to take us, at this point, getting very serious about our food distribution. We've seen over the past few weeks a lot of cracks within our food distribution. And I think we're going to continue to see those cracks because there are a couple shoes that have not dropped yet. And I'll just share with you. One of those is that we still have individuals that are working face front with the community in the grocery stores who are still very concerned about having interactions with people who are coming into the grocery stores. So there are lobbyists right now for major restaurant chains as well as for major grocery store chains that are trying to position themselves in such a way where food is actually going to begin to be delivered to the consumer as opposed to the consumer having to come out and interact with the grocery store. So grocery stores potentially may become more fulfillment-based centers than they are what we have right now. If that becomes the case, one of the main challenges is that right now 20% of the American population does not have access to adequate internet. So if you're having to order online with an internet and you don't have adequate internet, what does that say in terms of the food? Another percentage that we have to be concerned about is that there's almost 30% of the American population that do not have a credit card. They use some form of prepaid credit card. So if those individuals need a credit card to place an order and or the internet, how is that going to work? So as farmers, we have to be aware of that, and individually, we have to be aware of that to kind of help fill those gaps for the individuals who might not be able to get food any other way. That's just something in the future that we need to be aware of now as COVID is kind of working its way through our distribution chain and people are still getting sick. So I see us on the other side in a completely different world where people now are more concerned with their food. They want to know where their food is coming from, which means that they're going to want to grow things in their own backyard as opposed to having food coming from far distant places that they have no control over.
And it's been touched by many, many hands.
Yes.
No, I think
many hands. Yes, you're correct.
Right. None of whom will ever meet. And I think that this is all really bringing that home and why it means something for to know not only where your food's coming from, but who's growing it and why.
Correct.
So, Willie, I think you provided a lot of insight. I think what you're talking about, particularly with the internet access, was something Wande was also talking about previously in terms of her students not having internet access. But also, I think you're hitting to a bigger point of, some of these systems themselves are not really built, certainly with equity in mind, but also not with our health and our communities in mind.
Yes.
So do you think that people are going to start valuing the sort of holistic relationship that comes with their food as opposed to simply just being able to access it? Do you know what I'm asking?
I do. And my short answer for this, because I've been asked this question in different variations, but my answer has been, I hope so. And the only reason why I said that I hope so is because we've already seen that with the announcement of stores being open this week, that there are people who are already chancing their health and going back into there to get things that most of us would consider to be, maybe not essential, non-essential. But to those individuals, they consider that to be essential. Well, we kind of had that conversation prior to now about food. Essential, high quality, highly nutritious, available food is a priority for a lot of people in word, but not necessarily in deed. So until we see a shift, and hopefully that's one of the shifts that comes out of here, is that people will begin to pay for food that is going to nourish their bodies, so maybe that their bodies are fortified better to deal with future pandemics that we may have, because this COVID has exposed us to a lot of things. So that Pandora door has been opened. We don't know what else may be coming down the pipeline with that. So I hope so. I'm an optimist. So I'm optimistic that the majority of the population will, but I will hasten us and say that it is going to take a period of time, because I remember when bottled water was you going and getting an old milk jug, taking it to the sink, washing it out, swishing it out, the milk residue, and filling it up with tap water. That used to be bottled water. But now when you go to somebody's house and you ask for bottled water, if they gave you some water out of the tap, most people will clutch their pearls and almost fall out of their seat if you try to offer them some tap water, even though they're paying for it and they take a bath in it. But that took a period of time for us to get accustomed to paying for something that we could just walk over to the spigot and get. Mm-hmm. COVID may help expedite that time frame, that window, but I still think it's going to take a period of time. This is when we need to be now in the food industry really diligently promoting the alternatives that many of the people around us did not know even exist. Unfortunately, there still are a lot of people who don't know that there are farms and farmers market right down the street for them. This is a great opportunity for us to turn up that marketing and branding heat so that people can understand that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think you've done a great job of certainly amplifying what value you're bringing to the community. So congratulations to you for bringing food to people. And I know our organization here at Foodwell was really grateful to be a part of that project. So I think you're doing your next round of pickups on May the 1st. Is there still any opportunity to get a raised bed if you haven't gotten one yet, or is this May 1st round sort of capped out?
Well, the May 1st round is pretty capped out, but it looks like this is going to become a May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th type of thing.
Okay.
I'm very proud of the leaders that I've worked with. I mean, I'm talking, but I don't want to take all the credit for this. There's a young lady who is really the visionary behind this. I was the mouthpiece and said, this is what we should do. She's the one that really went out and started putting the blocks together. Her name is Mandisha Thomas, and her organization, Golden Gate Healthcare Resources. Me working with them, they have really helped kind of put the guide rails around this so that we can have the success that we're having. And then there have been other leaders that are coming in. Like I said, Foodwell, I'm so grateful for you guys. I joke with Kim a lot, but I will say that I'm very, very thankful for what you have contributed, not just in terms of the resources, but a lot of the technical information that's been behind kind of closed doors on how you do these kinds of things so that they can be successful for more people, because that's what we want to do. We want this to be a model that can eventually be picked up, taken to Alabama, picked up, taken to Mississippi, picked up, taken to Florida, so that other people can have this. Because if our borders are fortified in Georgia, but Florida isn't, then guess what happens? People from Florida comes to Georgia, and now that puts strain on what we have going on here in Georgia. So we need to be able to do this around the board. So if those of you who are listening find value in what it is that we're doing and you want to be of assistance, then I would say definitely go to the website gghr.org. You can donate. Like I said, for us, average box is $55 for a box. You can donate that amount or more. If you know of organizations that we should get in contact with that could actually assist us in providing more boxes, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. My email address is willie@millercityfarm.com, and that's Willie, WILLIE, @millercityfarm.com.
All right, Willie, thank you so much for all your hard work and all the information you've been sharing with us today. It's a real pleasure getting to talk to you. Wish I could have seen you, but we'll hopefully be seeing each other in the near future. I'm actually hoping to get out there on Friday and maybe lend a hand to some of the business. So hopefully we'll get to see you next week.
Cool beans. That sounds great.
All right, Willie, have a great rest of your day and have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
Don't party too hard.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to our technically challenged Foodwell Live edition this Friday. Switched up the order, had to do a few restarts this time because of some sound issues, but I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Doesn't look like we're going to get Bill Green from the Common Market on this week. I know his schedule has been crazy, a lot of moving parts, so we will hope to catch up with him at a time that's more convenient. But wanted to thank Willie Miller and Wande Meadows, who came on and just were able to share some really good information about what's been going on in South Fulton and in Forest Park regarding farming, regarding education. And I think something that we really uncovered today was, again, the lack of internet access is really going to be a huge issue for people obtaining food. Lack of internet access, the inability to attend school online, the inability to access SNAP resources online. This is going to create a big gap for a lot of people. And I think it's something that we're going to have to work collectively to overcome, in addition to the many other ripple effects of this pandemic. So thank you for tuning in again. We'll be back next Friday at 1 p.m., so tune in. We'll be interviewing some more local leaders, more farmers, and giving you some more updates from around local food. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.